feel like he's not going. I knew a different X than like the people. I knew him my whole life.
Right.
So I really knew him before he turned to the big iconic star, and he always kind of stayed like, as far as being around, he would come after he made, and before he made it, you would see too much of him. But after he got right, you wouldn't see him that much, so it's almost like surreal.
Experiment to know what it's about, you know?
So you're saying your music, in a sense, some of it's a warning?
Yes. Yes.
Tell me, I think people are curious, how a guy, you sold how many records?
28 million.
And made millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
How do you end up in here?
I think everyone who's watching knows how I ended up in here.
Well, the industry is full of homo, hate niggas. It's like they got this new breed of rapper that's paying DJs to play their and, you know what I'm saying? They sucking the record label executive. It's like there's too much of that going on. Right. You know what I'm saying? Let me be me. Let me be the artist that I am and just play my music.
The objective is to keep you blind. So along with the handcuffs on your arms, they got shackles on your mind.
What you just heard was not random gossip. It was a glimpse into a pattern that haunted hip-hop for years. Mase is not just another artist with regrets. He is someone who witnessed how power was used to control careers. He has hinted for decades that what happened behind the scenes at Bad Boy Records was deeper than contracts or money. It was about influence and pressure that changed people forever. He says he watched Jadakiss go through things no young artist should face, situations disguised as mentorship that left permanent damage. Mase says his deal was never just a bad contract. It was a trapped $20,000 for publishing that was later worth millions. And when he offered $2 million to buy it back, the answer was no, not because of money, but because of control. Now, with headlines surfacing about legal pressure and past actions, Mase is stepping up to tell his truth, not to attack, but to expose a cycle that took too much from too many and to finally free his voice from the silence he kept for years.
He owes me $3 million. That's facts. I got the receipt.
Second album, you gave him money to do a second album, never delivered.
Did the album, never delivered. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to go back and forth with Mase. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going back and forth with nobody. I'm just going to, if I'm here, I'm going to speak up for myself. I'm going to speak up for myself now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to have you think something that I hate. I hate a thief.
Diddy flips the script completely. Instead of recognizing that he owes Mase millions in fair compensation, he turns around and claims Mase owes him $3 million. This is a classic move where the one in power makes the person speaking out feel like they are the issue. He says he hates thieves and will defend himself, but what he really means is he hates when someone breaks free from his grip. But money was just the beginning. The deeper damage done to Mase was personal. It was about control over his dignity, his voice, and his ability to walk away with self-respect intact. And now, as Mase speaks out, that control is finally starting to crack.
Me and Puff was like, I felt like I did more than I got credit for, more than I got paid for.
You felt, or did you do that? Because you said felt, like
okay,
feeling.
let's clear that up then.
You saying you feeling that?
No, we're gonna keep it with, because I'm trying to be nice. I never got paid what I was worth, and I never got the respect I was worth. So the disdain that I got for Puff is more like, you trying to keep me here. I'm not here. All my peers is up here. All my peers are bosses. When it's time, just like somebody raised somebody up, you know they did work with you, they go from your little man to maybe A&R to something else. He just kept trying to keep me right here, like he didn't want me to grow at anything. And to anybody, is that gonna bother you?
Yeah.
Especially Absolutely. If I'm producing the work. Yeah. Puff would go out and party, and I would be in the studio writing the records, and then I just come back and say, he'll say this is his part or that is his part, but I was the person there creating it all.
Right.
And then, I mean, from the lyrical standpoint, where somebody did a beats, and even More Money, More Problems, I came up with that. I came up with the beat too. And I said, Stevie, we need to do this beat and do it like this. So just imagine all of these moments that are taken from you, the records, the beats, you ain't getting the money, you ain't getting the publishing, you ain't getting the respect. And I don't think you're like that.
No.
So that became really frustrating.
This is not just about money. This is about a man who gave everything to someone who used his loyalty and then tossed him aside. People have whispered for years that Diddy and Mace had a bond that went far beyond music, and that deep personal betrayal is what fuels the pain behind Mace's words when he says he never got what he deserved. He is not just talking about contracts, he is talking about trust broken behind the scenes, promises that meant nothing, and protection that never came. By 2009, Mace had enough after years of watching others suffer the same fate. After seeing Jadakiss lose control of his own path, Mace chose to do something no one expected. He was done playing behind the scenes. He was ready to confront Diddy right then and there, live on the air. While Diddy spoke casually on 103 in Atlanta, Mace stormed into the studio unannounced, holding legal papers with a pen in hand and fire in his eyes. He was not there for peace talks. He was there to force a moment of truth with thousands of listeners tuned in live, ready to hear one man finally take his power back.
I'm trying to get my paperwork signed.
He's trying to get his freedom. And I ain't mad at him. So go in there and bum rush Puff on air.
Mace did not just show up to that radio station. He created a moment that forced the truth into the spotlight. He knew that going behind the scenes would get him nowhere, so he showed up with papers and a pen ready to make Diddy sign Live on Air. But even that bold move did not set him free. What looked like a win was actually just to show those papers only let Mace appear as a guest on other songs, not as a free artist. Bad Boy Records still owned all his publishing, which meant Diddy still owned Mace's voice, his legacy, and his financial future. Even when Diddy was backed into a corner, he still found a way to keep control. And if Mace, someone who helped build Bad Boy Records, was treated like that, imagine what happened to artists like Jadakiss, who had even less power. Diddy stood on stage at the Grammys preaching black excellence and support, but Mace could not sit silent anymore, not while his work, his value, his freedom were held hostage for decades. Mace offering $2 million for rights he sold for $20,000 should have been a simple business move, but Diddy refused because this was never about money, it was about power and keeping people stuck. While the spotlight praised his image behind the curtain, the story was very different. While Mace was being blocked and buried, others, like the Locks and Dex, were watching too. And when Dex spoke out about what he saw, it confirmed everything Mace had been hinting for years. Dex had nothing to gain and everything to lose by speaking the truth, but he still did it because some things are too real, too important, too personal to stay buried forever.
Well, you know, Locks got signed before I did. Even though I bought the Locks Store Riders, you know, they got signed. They were a safer group. You know, Pop signed them. And it was a blessing and a curse because they were sure they were happy about getting signed first, and they were on the Benjamins and but they made them jiggy and put them in suits and made them write lyrics for them and took all their publishing and took them. Like, damn.
Dex confirmed what many people had only whispered for years, that the power being used behind the scenes was not just about contracts, it was about total control. He said Diddy put the Locks in suits and broke them down, and that statement hit hard because it described how Jadakiss and others were transformed, not uplifted. This was not just about image, it was about identity being stripped and replaced with something more manageable for the system. The mistreatment was only the start. What followed was a years-long battle where the Locks fought just to reclaim their voices, their rights, and their freedom. It showed how deep the trap really was, because once you were inside Diddy's system, escaping meant sacrificing everything and still getting nothing in return.
They was here yesterday and they said they didn't get no money.
They didn't say they didn't get no money.
The Locks?
They said they felt that at this point in their career that it doesn't make sense. They feel like you get more money
so
than them.
So I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna tell you what I got. I'm gonna tell you what I got. Let's ask you. Let's remove me and the Locks. Me and you in a business deal. I meet you when you coming up. You want me to invest in you. You know what I'm saying? You a new company. I invested in D Block. You know what I'm saying? I'm investing in you. You a new company. At the end of the day, here come the splits. Out of the money, you get over $1.5 million. And I get 400 or under $400,000. That's it, New York. They got over $1.5 million. And I got
This was back then?
No, this is everything today. They got $1.5 million.
Your whole career?
They got for the albums they put out. These remember, they the streets. They not making no #1 top 10 pop records. They the streets. So they sitting here crying like I got more money. That's the money that I got. I'm divulging. I don't even speak my information on the street. I will never, ever do this again.
Honestly, just because I let you get some of that specifics in. We didn't really get into too much of the specifics yesterday. I guess just the point that they came up here was you know, they might be misinformed. I don't know, yes or no, about how much exactly it is. But either way, they have been, they say, trying to get out of this publishing deal for 10 years.
Check this. Okay. If you check this out, if you yourself, you invest in AT&T,
right?
Okay.
No, I get it. I get it.
No. You invest in AT&T. AT&T, they didn't even start making phones. Then AT&T, whatever years later, say that they want your shares back. But there's no reason. They just say that they just want their shares back. Or even better, you buy a house. You go and you buy a house on set in Harlem. You go buy the house, and
I mean, I get it. You're investing, you want to
Yeah, but I'm saying it doesn't. So they've been calling, knock on the door, saying they want their house back. They had sold their house. They didn't even sell a house. To be honest, they came up here and they're portraying in New York that they sold a house. I don't own their house. Puff does not own 50%. Puff owns 20%. I don't never divulge my information or my business, but it's just the fact that this is just so crazy. And I'm just, it's not even worth it. This is not even worth it to me.
Right.
So out of the house that I bought, I don't even own the house. I just invested in the ground floor. So now you say, just give me the ground floor back just because. I could see if it was what they were saying. They came up here and cried to New York. They cried broke. They used the word slavery. Over $1.5 million in slavery, and I get 400. That's slavery. There's people that are really feeling like they working in the streets. Streets keep it real. There's people that are struggling. And
The Lox fought for 10 years, an entire decade, to break free from their bad boy contract. And when artists spend that long and millions in legal fees just to get out, it is not about creative differences. It is about survival. Diddy did not just defend himself, he flipped the industry against them, making sure the ones who spoke up were treated like the problem. The system protected the handler and punished the voices trying to break out. When Rough Riders finally paid $2 million plus royalties to free the Lox, it showed how much their silence was worth to Diddy. This was never just a contract dispute, it was a setup to keep everything that happened behind closed doors from ever getting out. Before we go further into what allegedly happened to Jadakiss, we need to go back in time to understand who he was before the industry changed him, because the only way to see the full damage is to remember the person he used to be, and nobody knew that version better than Dex, who shared a bond with Jada. Before the fame, before the contracts, before the manipulation, they came up from the same streets, ran together, and built something real long before the machine got involved and started rewriting everything.
Dex was already a star in Yonkers in our eyes. Right. Maybe 7 to 10 years before he ever dropped the album. He been rocking and selling tapes in the hood and doing show. X did a show, a live, well, it was in one of the high schools or, a school gymnasium in Yonkers with leaders of the new school.
Wow.
When they had just another case of, he held his own.
Wow.
Wow.
X got up there with unreleased, never heard material, only in Yonkers.
Wow.
And killed it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so once he got with Rough Riders and we started getting nicer and rhyming, we was the first, it wasn't even like a formal meeting. He came to the block, yo, dog, I got these dudes. Y'all gonna be with me, dog. We gonna be on Rough Riders. And then he bought them and then that was it.
Conspiracy against me, because in the absence of the truth, will prevail. So as long as nobody out there spitting real, you can come out with anything and it'll sell, you know what I'm saying? But once you put the truth out there, it's like people have something to compare everything else to. So, you got a lot of people who are not really happy about the fact that, my album is about to drop. They're not really happy about, Lord, give me a sign. And, we in here and, things of that nature. But you know what? If you want to rap or sing or whatever, don't become a part of the game. You know what? Listen to a song I called The Industry. And that pretty much explains, what the industry. Man, it's not the same. The industry, it's not a game. The industry, real dying to get in the industry just to find they don't fit in. The industry ain't what it used to be. The industry's trying to control the way you MC. They want you to dress like this and talk like that, but I'm going to dress like this and talk with the gap. The industry got y'all word meaning nothing. The industry heard because he's bluffing. The industry, money, hate, but I dare you to try to take a off my plate. The industry like, wait, but in the streets we like, get him. 17 up in that thing, catch him sleeping, hit him. My pop web's with him. The coroner's coming to get him. Industry. Finish the album, shoot the video. What happened? Let's go on vacation and, we don't know. What you mean you don't know? How do you listen to a whole album, pick a single, shoot a video,
They don't know? Okay, I see what's really good. You're trying to eliminate the competition. You know, because at first you retire, you know, then get me off the label, now you're back rapping again. Okay.
Things that the devil does, it's not so much a person, even though he acts through people. You know, you can't call one person the devil.
Joe Arpaio?
You know, you can't call any one person the devil. You can't do that because no one person has enough power to be the devil. You know? And, you know, it's through all these hardships that I realized that, you know what? This is God's country because I met the devil here. Because if I hadn't met the devil here, I wouldn't realize I was strong enough to overcome the obstacles that the devil would place in my path. And it's by overcoming these obstacles that I realized that this is God's country. Because he helped me get over these obstacles.
Meeting I ever had, I was like, we got to sign DMX, and they laughed at me. I remember when I left the office, Tina Davis said, she knew what I wanted to sign DMX. She said, DMX don't sell, your is fired. Jay and Dame did not believe in DMX. Jay would be like, you think he's better than me? And I'd be like, he's nice just like you. I said, if you look in the hood, there's less of like you and more like him. Yeah, but don't want to live that. He's depressing, Gotti. And I said, I don't give a. So Jay used to watch me grind with X, and he was off with the Hitman. And then something strange happened when I made Get At Me Dog. If you remember at the beginning of the video, it's the heartbeats, doom doom, DMX, doom doom, live at the tunnel. Y'all don't even remember the tunnel. Funk Master doom doom, and then I put that sound bite. Let's take it back to the street.
An opportunity, yo. I did this talking about he want receipts. Let's start with your mother. Your mother got the receipts, everything in your mother name. That's the one who got the receipts. You need more proof. Biggie not here, so Big can't give you no receipts. He gone. Craig Mack can't give you receipts. He gone. Black Rob can't give you receipts. He gone. And everybody else you made sign paperwork. So they can't say what I'm saying. I'm the only one with the courage you not signing me. Because I never needed the money, all money, not good money. Remember that you know who to play with. Mace's decision to finally speak out after decades of silence is a moment the industry can't ignore. What happened to Jadakiss is a reflection of the darkest side of a business that sells dreams and delivers pain. The changes Dunks witnessed, the 10-year battle the Locks fought to reclaim their voice, and the years Mace spent talking in code all lead back to the same truth, a system that used young artists and called it business. Now Mace has pulled back the curtain and revealed what Jadakiss was really going through behind closed doors. His bravery has shattered a wall of silence, and even if Jadakiss never speaks for himself, the truth is out there, and it may help the next generation avoid the same trap. If you found value in this, make sure you follow for more stories that keep it honest and real, because the truth should never be silenced.